Hi guys, it's RBB. Today I would like to talk to you about file extensions and how your computer knows what to do with the documents and files and things on your computer. When it sees a file called dot something like hello.doc or hello.jpg, how does your computer know what to do with it? So I just want to talk about very simplified, a look at file extensions and program file extensions. Okay, so for the most part, we understand that the matrix, right? The computer works in ones and zeros in binary code, and all the computer programs from Oregon Trail to launching a spaceship. The programs that we use are all written in binary code. Now, unless you are in the matrix, which we all are, and you don't know how to read these ones and zeros, we rely on our computer to translate these ones and zeros into something. So we give the computer an extension. We have the name of a file, dot something, that basically tells our computer, hey, I want you to filter this through a specific type. So we have this little hopper here, and here's our bunch of ones and zeros. And let's say that the file we're trying to open is called awesome.doc. Well, all of those ones and zeros, it doesn't matter what we call it, but if it's a .doc, the computer's going to see that .doc, and it's going to say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to filter it through my default .doc translator, okay? And for the most part, likely what's going to come out would be a Microsoft Word document, okay? So, or whatever your word processing program is, probably Word. Okay, so whatever we call it, it's going to filter through using that file extension to tell it which program to open. Okay, so there's lots of different file types and file extensions. So if we look at some, like Microsoft can open all of these different types of programs. Okay. So all these different types of file extensions. So if somebody sends me, if I try to open an XPS or a TXT or an .doc, PDF, and many more, okay, and I filter it, and my computer is set to filter all of these guys by default. When this opens, automatically filter it through my Word. Okay, it's going to be great, and all these guys will open, okay, and there's others that will open as well. So a program like Word can open lots of generic file types, okay, but if we tried to do something else, so if we turned this off and let's say we tried to shove something like, we tried to open an MB, and you try to open a file and your computer's like, whoa, 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 I don't know what this is. This is an incompatible file type. Or you get that dialogue that says, what program do you want to use to open this? You've all seen that, right? It's not that anything's broken. It's that your computer either doesn't have the necessary program to open the file that they're sending you, or it just doesn't have a default and doesn't know what to do with it. So if somebody sent me a .doc, my computer is pretty much by default going to open it with Word. But if I tried to open an MB, which is a Maya binary file, Word's going to be like, my computer's not set to open MB with, any generic file opener. Okay, so like if I tried to open it in Word, it wouldn't work. Okay, so what we've got here is the failure to communicate with our computer. Okay, a Maya binary file is a program-specific file type. And some others like that, if we look at some different types of file types, let's see, here's some others. So an MB, that is going to want to open with Autodesk Maya. Okay, that is Maya's default. So if somebody sends me an MB and I work in Maya regularly, that is automatically going to open with Maya. If someone sends me a PSD, it's going to open as a Photoshop document. Now we're keeping this simple. I know some people out there are going to say lots of things can open a PSD, and that's true. Some programs have sort of agreements with other programs like, hey, we'll open yours if you open ours, but just keep in mind that this is a program-specific extension. It is a Photoshop document. It wants to, by default, open in Photoshop. NK would be the Foundry's Nuke. If I tried to open an NK in Maya, it would be like, what do you want to open this with? Because we don't know how to do this. Okay, and let's say somebody sends me this crazy thing, a TSC PROJ. What in the world is that? if somebody sent that to me, my computer would say, what do you want to open? What do you want to use to open this? I happen to know that that's a Camtasia file, a video recording. So I would open that with Camtasia, and the computer would say, oh, okay, great. I speak TSC PROJ now, okay? And it would open up in Camtasia, okay? Does that make sort of sense? All right, so we have program files, we have generic file types. If we look at some of the extensions that we're kind of familiar with, things like docx, txt, all of those, if somebody sends you that file, they're going to open in your word processing, okay? Probably Word, okay? JPEG, PNG, TIFF, what are those? Those are all images, okay? And then many, many more. These are images, and it's going to open in your default image viewer. That may be Photoshop, that might be Paint, that could be whatever your default image viewer is. An MP4, an MOV, an AVI, and others like it. These are movies, okay? These are video, not movies, okay? They're video. And the MP3 and WAV and others like it, that's sound. These are all relatively generic. This is actually QuickTime, but these are for the most part generic, and lots of programs can open those, okay? So if somebody sends you a doc, your computer's not going to balk at it. But if somebody sends you a nuke file, you might have an issue with it, okay? So some other programs like that would be, or program file types would be things like AI would be Adobe Illustrator. Okay, that's Adobe Illustrator. This is Adobe After Effects. Lots of different programs would just have their specific file types. And if I sent you awesome.ai, it would want to open in Illustrator. Okay, it would want to open in InDesign. It would want to open as in Maya. Okay, these are program specific. It doesn't matter what we call it. We could call them all soup. The computer only cares what's after the dot. Okay, so if this is a JPEG, it's going to open with our default image viewer. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, there's two kind of weird ones. Well, there's lots of weird ones, but the two that you're probably going to run into most often that will probably confuse you might be a PDF or an HEIC. Now, if I send you a PDF, we've all seen PDFs. You go to, turn in your resume for something, and it says the accepted file types are, .doc, .txt, or PDF. Okay, well, we know two of those are word processor ones that are going to open in Word. What's a PDF? Isn't that just a Word document? If I send you awesome.pdf, what's it going to be? Is it going to be a photo? Is it going to be sheet music? Is it going to be a form to fill out or a book? It could be just about anything, okay? What a PDF is a portable document format. And I like to tell my students it's like a bento box. When you go to save a document as a PDF, what it does is it will take the sections and it'll say, oh, it looks like I've got some text right here. I'm going to put that in a text container, okay? And I have a nice, picture over here. PDF is going to say, oh, I've got a picture over here. I'm going to put that in an image box. So it ships me this lovely little bento box full of goodies. And when it gets to whoever's going to open it, hopefully when they open all these little containers, they pop back out where they're supposed to. Now, where things get kind of screwed up is, let's say I send you a PDF of this awesome poster I made, and I used Comic Sans, okay, which I would never do to you, but I used Comic Sans font, and you don't have Comic Sans. So when you go to open that PDF, it's going to say, oh, there's text here, but I don't have Comic Sans. I'm going to substitute it with Tahoma or something equally awesome, okay? And so your poster or your final project might not look exactly how you sent it, because when they're opening it, they don't have that same font, okay? So that's just an example. Another thing would be like in a text document, you're trying to get something to fit, and so you hit a bunch of spaces, or you hit return or enter to try and make it all even up. When PDF saves that and it opens it back up on the other end, it's going to ignore the goofy stuff you did. So generally, if a PDF fails, it's almost always user error. I'm sorry to tell you. All right, and the other type that I want to talk about is HEIC, which I just drew all over right there. And HEIC is just an example of not program specific and not file type specific. This is actually operating system specific. So an HEIC is an image. Okay, I know for sure this is a photo, this is an image, but this will only open on Apple products. So if I airdrop an image from somebody from my iPhone to somebody else, send it as an HEIC, no problem. If my students turn in their artwork as an HEIC and I'm opening it on my PC laptop, I cannot open it, because Microsoft and Apple still don't play nice together. And no matter what mojo magic I try to do, there might be some program now, but for the most part, the PC is just gonna, no, I don't know what that is, and it's not going to open it no matter what I do. Okay, so I tell my students, when you turn something in, send it to me as a PDF, which almost everything and everybody can open, or if I know it's an image, send it as a specific image file type. Okay, so hopefully that's sort of kind of cleared up the difference in when we've got file types, which are the guys like, turn that guy back up, these types of file types that are generic document types, okay, generic file types that could open up in lots of things that you would set up. And then we have program specific like Photoshop document, Maya binary. So when you go to save something, you want to know, what is the point? What is the point of this thing that I just made that I'm going to save? If I'm going to send it to you as a file just real quickly through email, maybe I want to send it as a JPEG, and I'm going to save it nice and small and save it as a JPEG. If I wanted you to have all of these layers still to work on, then I might send it as a PSD, a Photoshop document, so that it opens in Photoshop with all these layers. But I probably don't want you to screw it up, so I'm going to send it to you as a PNG, which is an image file type, but it's squished, so you can't open it up and mess it up. Okay, so you would just determine how do you want to save it. Now I'm going to show you something that might just save your life. Have you ever gone to open a document? And I'm going to just draw it because that's just how I'm rolling today. Okay, and you go to open a document on your computer, and it looks like a text page of just sort of, yeah, that's not what I ordered, is it? No. And it opens up as sort of just a text file. Like it looks like a piece of paper. Hey, did you see the one we did on resolution the other day? Yeah, this is like something really crazy. And it just looks like blah, 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 and it's just a file. It just says awesome, and there's no dot after it. It's possible to save something with no file extension, and the computer is like, I got a big old pile of ones and zeros here. I don't know what to do with this. And don't panic. Let's say this is my thesis. This is a book I've written. This is a photo I want to send you. I know what it is. I can come back in here and change it and just name it. This is a JPEG, okay? Or this is a doc. And then it'll say, oh, okay, I know what to do with it. And it'll go back and put it through, the appropriate hopper, because I called it a JPEG, and whatever my image viewer is, I called it a doc, so it's going to go through that hopper, and it'll open. So if you see that, don't freak out and panic. It might warn you, hey, don't be changing file types, but it almost always works, okay? Especially at the level we're talking about. If we're talking about changing something from a Maya binary to a nuke file, that's not going to work, but these generic file types will. Okay, well, I went well over my 5 minutes, but hopefully that sort of explained what's going on with the dot whatever. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if there's anything you'd like me to cover, and you guys be well. See you next time.